What am I thankful for this year as a homemaker? Lots of things, but I'll be honest, I am so thankful for the opportunities when I can save money, especially when the economy is really rough on our family. Today, I'm preparing a Thanksgiving meal for our family of 6 for, you guessed it, under $20. Stick around and watch me cook. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the like button, hit that notification bell so you can see other homemaking and cooking videos, other encouragement videos for wives, mothers, women out there. I would love to get to know you better and spread my encouragement to other women just like you. All right, here I am gathering some of my materials, some of my ingredients. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure if I would be able to do this. I really tried to select items that I knew would not necessarily be specific to a grocery discount store that only I had in my area. I tried to get items that I knew most people would be getting during Thanksgiving. I found here that even though I wanted to get things like yams to make sweet potatoes with marshmallows, it just wasn't the right budget for that. So I just tried to stick to the basics. Turkey, green bean casserole, what else? Mashed potatoes. And I came in under budget. I only spent $19. One of the tricks was in my grocery store, thank goodness, they just had a turkey breast. It was huge. It was about $12. And I knew that my family, they're not crazy about turkey, so it would be just enough to get that little bit of Thanksgiving in their mouth that they wanted. And I think that's most people. I think one challenge is we always want to make sure we have enough, but we have a bunch of leftovers. And people love Thanksgiving leftovers, but they usually only love Thanksgiving leftovers for about a day, and then they don't really know what to do with them. At least most people don't. Here, I'm brining my turkey. Since I am working on a minimal budget and minimal ingredients, I just put it in a cold water bath with some salt and pop that in my fridge for a little over a day. Now, if you have a frozen turkey, of course, you want to do it way ahead. I would say no later than Monday before Thanksgiving. But since mine was not frozen, I was able to do it just a day ahead. Now, this is a hack that I recommend if you want to make your green bean casserole and French onions are out of your budget. I used the potato peel skins, and when I peeled my potato, I just added some salt and I popped them in my air fryer. You'll notice I do something else to add that little bit of crunch, which I'll show you later, but I'm mainly showing this to you because it's not exactly like a traditional green bean casserole, but it did the trick. If I wanted to make something similar for less money, I used ingredients that I already had. You might have tortilla chips. You might have actual onions that you want to fry up in some flour and some salt and deep fry those, and that will work perfectly fine. That's, in fact, all there is to it. Or you don't have to do it at all. You can do fresh green beans. You can do a salad. But again, if you want that traditional Thanksgiving meal, but you can't justify spending some money on some of these items that you only buy once a year, then that's a great way to use up all your ingredients. All right, here I am preparing the turkey, and it's been brining so that the meat is moist and it has a little bit more flavor. I decided to just bake it in one of my cast iron pans. I just added salt and butter and a little bit of pepper. Okay, a lot of pepper. And here I took an old butter wrapper, butter paper, and I just rubbed it all over the turkey. Now you'll notice at the beginning of the video, I did buy an onion. I thought that was a smart thing to do, but I ended up not even using it because this cut of turkey did not have a cavity. It looks like it does, but it actually doesn't have a cavity. Now you can still put it inside the little space where it seems like there would be a cavity or under the skin to add that little bit of flavor, but I was a little lazy, I'll be honest. So I didn't end up doing it, and the flavor was still perfect. My family loved it. Someone in a former video said she saves all of her butter wrappers and puts them in the freezer because there's little remnants left, and she uses them in situations like this, which I think is genius. And of course, if you don't already know, because I know there are newer homemakers out there or newer cooks, you want to make sure you're washing your hands. You don't want to cross-contaminate. You really don't want to get salmonella or E. coli or sick with anything that a raw bird carries with in terms of its bacteria. All right, there are my air-fried potato skins, and you'll see me assemble that now. As I mentioned, it wasn't my favorite. It could have used a little more flavor, a little bit more texture, but I will say my children love to eat the potato skins when I peel it and make mashed potatoes. We always pop them in the air fryer, and it tastes so good. It feels like you're eating chips. I am saving the juice from the drained French green beans so I could put it in my dog food, because you might have seen in a former video that I make my own dog food from scratch. So I thought my dog would like some of those nutrients. I do make mostly everything from scratch, but that doesn't mean that I start from the most raw ingredients. Here, I'm just a regular mom. I'm using Campbell's cream and mushroom soup because I know that's what most people are going to use. Works perfectly fine. If you think it's too thick or you don't really care for this, you can make your own cream of anything with some flour, some butter, a little bit of chicken broth or vegetable broth or beef broth, whatever broth you have. And it gets the same effect. Add some salt and pepper. Now here you'll notice I have some leftover Fritos, and I like using Fritos with, I remember at Taco Bell, they have these burritos where they add Fritos or Doritos in them. And I don't like going to Taco Bell. I don't like going to get fast food, but I do miss some of those foods. And this is one of my biggest pieces of advice. If you want to cook from scratch and you don't know where to start, think about the fast food places where you love those items. You've just gotten the habit of making them. And how can you recreate that? How can you make that at home? And then that builds upon the next thing. So I remember thinking, can I make French fries at home? So I loved having an air fryer. Can I make a beefy Fritos burrito? Can I make a burger better than I can one from In-N-Out? Don't come at me if you love In-N-Out, because I love In-N-Out too. I'm just saying. All right, moving on to these mashed potatoes, a staple. I did have butter on hand, so I do want to fully disclose that I know there are some ingredients here that I did not buy at the store, like the butter, but I figured you're going to have some of these things on hand. In this case, I did not add milk, which I normally do, to cream up my potatoes. And with that little bit of potato water, it still was fine. Again, it wasn't as moist as it could have been, but my family did not complain at all. So I did add the butter. If you have other seasonings, if you have dried rosemary or you have garlic powder or onion powder, feel free to add those. I just wanted to be as true to the under $20 as I could, because I know, as I mentioned, times are tough. And if you are trying to save money and you're trying to avoid overspending and getting left with a bunch of leftovers, then I wanted to show all I did was I just bought 2 potatoes. I didn't buy the whole bag. Buying the whole bag probably would have been cheaper, but I wanted to show if you only have $1, if you only have 80 cents or $1.20, then you can get exactly what you need and still fill up your family. Because the next piece of advice I'll share about Thanksgiving, I know most people will appreciate, some people will shriek in horror. If people are still hungry and you don't have Thanksgiving leftovers, just eat some cereal. Just make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Use what you have around the house. People will be fine. They will enjoy whatever you have at your house. Now here I am just making the box cornbread stuffing mix. I wanted to do the instant. Leave me a comment if you still like to stuff your bird with the stuffing or if you like to cook it separately. I've never cooked it in the bird. I just wasn't raised that way. In fact, coming from a Filipino family, my mom, she never made Thanksgiving dinner except one time. And so I hope you're proud of me that I made this for under $20. I think she would be too. I hope this inspired you and that you're able to save a little bit of money from this video. Thank you and God bless.